Welcome back to the Muze Podcast, where we pull back the curtain on the music industry by talking with artists, producers, and creatives shaping the future of sound. Today's guest is one of the most prolific and versatile session guitarists working today, with over 900 recording projects under his belt from major artists like Peyton Parrish, Jordan Searcy, and Kofi Anderson to TV and film placements on networks like Fox, CBS, and MTV. Andrew Timothy is a go-to player in the national music scene and beyond. Andrew, welcome to the show. It is a pleasure to have you on and just dig into the mind of one of our best guitarists.
Thank you.
Yeah, could you, to start, just for those who aren't familiar, could you share just a brief overview of your musical journey or career that led you to being a full-time session guitarist?
Sure, yeah. I've been here in Nashville for 12 years now, moved up here in 2013. So if you rewind, I graduated from college in 2009 with a music degree. And then from 2009 to 2011, I worked for a record label called Integrity Music, which did a lot of like modern praise and worship type stuff. But it wasn't a creative job. It was looking at spreadsheets all day. A great place to work, but not a job that I necessarily enjoyed. It was kind of adjacent to what I wanted to be doing. So when that job ended in 2011, the company was bought out by another company out in Colorado. So most of us lost our jobs during that transition. So at that point, I just decided, like, I want to be a musician. So I just went for it, really. Started teaching a bunch of guitar lessons, started doing some recording sessions there locally in Mobile, Alabama, where I'm from. And after a couple of years of that, my wife and I just decided, like, there was kind of a low ceiling in Mobile for somebody who wanted to play on records and make music for a living. So we just decided that Nashville would be a good fit. So we decided to give it, a good old college try. So we had a few $1,000s saved up, and we just loaded up and moved up here in 2013, hoping for the best. And 12 years later, we're doing it. We've got 6 kids now, and
wow.
Things are chugging along.
Yeah. I mean, you're still here, so that's already
I'm still here.
Testament to
still here.
Success on that. I mean, you also study music formally. That's right. And like at a university level, how did that play into your journey of coming up here?
A few things, I'm sure. The first thing that comes to mind is studying music like I did in college. I studied classical guitar, classical theory, all that kind of stuff, classical ear training, as well as some jazz studies too. So one of the biggest things was developing my ear and learning to hear music at a deep level. Learning to analyze Bach pieces and all that kind of stuff. Like, you're really getting deep into it, and you're learning to hear these different sounds to where you can hear a chord progression and just name it like that, which when you're in Nashville, that's how sessions work, right? It's like usually the first time you listen down to a demo in the studio, you're writing a chart, and that's it. You get one listen, you're charting it out. So really, I fine-tuned my ear there. Learning to read music was helpful, not because it's something I do necessarily daily now, but it forces you to understand music at a deeper level when you kind of see how the notes fit together. And so learning to analyze voicings, chord progression, stuff like that from the written page really translates to knowing how to play better rhythm guitar parts on a country song. Because I learned what good voice leading is, and then how that applies to guitar has definitely helped me as a session guy.
Like, what's the breakdown between like the formal technical skills and tuning your ear to just have that naturally?
I think at the end of the day, it's just about reps. Like, the more songs you learn, the more songs you record on, the faster you get, the quicker your ear gets. And studying music in college, like, there were literally classes called ear training where you would go in, and your test was the instructor would sit down at the piano and play through a chord progression, and you have, like a 4-part thing, like a SATB type choral arrangement. And the test would be, he would play it a few times, and you would notate it on staff paper, like all 4 voices.
Oh, wow.
So when you're hearing things at that level, it makes hearing a 1-5-6-4 progression on a pop tune like a piece of cake, right? And even like a lot of what I do is more like gospel R&B type sessions. I get quite a bit of that work that I do remotely. And hearing those type chord progressions where there's jazzy extensions and chord substitutions everywhere is a challenging thing. So that background I had from studying music in college certainly helped with that.
Nice. And I'm hearing you touch on this a little bit. When you're referring to the numbers of it as opposed to like literal notes on a staff, are you referring to the Nashville numbering system?
I'm talking about the Nashville number system.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha. And if you don't mind, just for our viewers who aren't familiar with it, just your take on the Nashville number system.
Sure. The quick rundown is, so the major scale has 7 notes and then it repeats at the octave. So every scale degree, every note of the scale is assigned a number, 1 through 7. So when you hear a chord progression, instead of calling the chord progression, let's say you're in the key of C, F, G, you would call that a 1-4-5 progression.
Yeah.
Because C is the chord built off of the first scale degree. That's your 1 chord. C, D, E, F. F is your 4 chord. And then C, D, E, F, G. G is your 5 chord. And so the beauty of the Nashville number system is it allows you to transpose a song to any other key without having to rewrite the chart.
Sure.
And so you're really thinking about the chord relationships, which is the same regardless of the key.
Yeah.
Right? Going from a 2 to a 5 sounds like a 2-5 in any key.
Yeah, the dominance to the resolving.
Right.
Subtonics, tonics, all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's just a quicker way of handling chord progressions like that.
Would you say you do a lot of your work in the Nashville numbering system, like when people are getting new jobs or?
Pretty much all of it. Yeah. There's the odd session where like a film composer will have me put guitars on stuff where it's reading the notes off the page, but that's literally like once every couple of years. Almost exclusively, I'm writing Nashville number charts, and that's what I'm referencing when I'm tracking guitars.
Sure. And do a lot of your clients give you these charts to work off of, or would you say it's more common for them to?
Typically, no. Occasionally I'll get a lead sheet, which is like chord symbols over the lyrics and the melody.
Sure. Okay.
So occasionally I'll read like that, but almost every session, the first thing I do is I open up the Logic session, I import the stems or whatever that they provide, and I listen down and write a Nashville number chart, and that's what I'm working from.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like a essential skill to
It definitely is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And speaking of just like adapting from a songwriter's vision or just what the artist is looking to do, you've worked across like a wide range of different genres: pop, rock, gospel, R&B. How do you try to adapt like your background and your playing style to those different tones, those different styles, just ways that you approach the genre?
It's a little bit like character acting. You kind of have to be a musical chameleon.
Sure.
And part of it is just listening widely. So it's easy to have the music that you like, and so when you're listening to music, you listen to what you like, and you never branch out. But if you want to be a session musician, you kind of have to broaden your horizons and listen to a little bit of everything. Another thing that really helped with this is the work I've done in sync, building a sync catalog. Because with that work, I've had to produce music that's everything from like 90s hip hop to cinematic bluegrass. And in producing those tracks, the company would typically provide a brief along with some reference tracks. So in doing that, you're kind of listening to the references and reverse engineering what you're hearing. And the same thing applies to just recording guitars. So if there's a gospel track, sometimes when someone hires me to play guitar, they'll send me some references. They'll name some artists or link to some songs that I can check out. Like, these are the guitar sounds we like. And that's usually simple enough to hear, like, okay, that sounds like clean strat, and then, you know, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Whatever it is. If you're a guitar player, you know, you kind of know what you're hearing. And sometimes you have to get a little more creative, because sometimes people don't really give you much to work off of. They just kind of send you a track and don't say much. So when that happens, sometimes I'll push back and say, like, what are some references, or what kind of sound are you looking for? Other times, if it's someone that I've worked with quite a bit, I already know the type sounds that they're after. But yeah, really, it's just listening broadly and doing some reverse engineering if it's not a style that you're super comfortable playing.
So I guess I'm just curious, like, what kind of stuff are you listening to, just on the off season, if you will?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Most people would not expect this, but some of my favorite music is acapella choral music. I love it.
Nice, yeah.
I love it. Because it's coming from a different place from all the music that I'm making professionally. So it's kind of refreshing in that way. Because if I'm listening to more contemporary styles, a lot of times I can't just listen to enjoy.
Yeah.
I can't turn off my analytical mind. Like, I'm hearing the chord progression, I'm seeing the number chart in my head, trying to hear what the guitar player's doing, see the voicings. So if I'm just listening for pleasure, it's probably going to be some type of classical music or instrumental fusion type stuff.
Interesting.
Like I love Mike Landau, Alan Hines, guys like that, more like the LA sound. Yeah. And then whatever the kids want to listen to.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Of course, yeah. Comes into it. You've also described yourself as like a big picture musician. So how do you like bring these different genres, different voicings, different styles that you've had just a career of experience with? How do you bring that into helping have a little bit of a producer mindset?
I think if you're going to be a successful session player, regardless of the instrument, you have to learn to think like a producer at some level. Meaning, you know, as a guitar player, I have to think about more than just what the guitar is doing. And, you know, I've been producing for the last few years, as well as just doing session work as a guitar player. And you really just have to broaden your horizons and see this is not about showcasing the guitar.
Sure.
When I'm hired to play on a country song or a worship song or whatever it is, it's not, almost never is it like a guitar feature, unless there's a short solo, typically. Yeah. It's just, how do you support what the vocalist is singing about? How do you support the lyric? So one of my best pieces of advice would be just focus on the singer above all else. Like, what is the basic idea of the song? What is the story that the singer is trying to tell? What is the mood that you're trying to create? And then letting that inform all of the technical decisions about what guitar do I play, what tone do I dial up, that kind of thing. On a similar note, just hearing, one, never step on the vocal. Rule number one, never get in the way of the vocal. And then two, as a guitar player, especially when I'm playing rhythm parts, and this goes for live as well as studio stuff, I try to lock in to the hi-hat.
Really?
So like bass players are usually locking into the kick drum. When I'm playing guitar, I'm trying to lock into the hi-hat, because that's where a lot of that groove is coming from.
Interesting. Yeah. Is that a frequency type of thing?
I don't know if it's necessarily a frequency thing as much as a groove thing.
Sure. Okay.
I don't know. It helps me lock in and play like part of the band when I'm listening to that hi-hat. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before. Oh, like when I mix, I definitely know like bassist going with kick drums, but I'll need to listen out for that. That's a pretty good.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah. It's crazy, the stuff you learn, and you just want to figure out how to like listen to music in a different way. And I mean, if you're being honest, you think you have a preference for songs where you're just there to elevate everyone else versus like a solo or feature instrumentals like that?
They're both fun. Most of what I do is just the guy in the background, whether that's on stage or doing sessions. It's almost always just supporting. Occasionally I'll play solos and stuff like that, and that's fun, and I enjoy that. And I've got a couple solo guitar EPs that I've done on my own, and that's really fun to just play what I never, play the stuff that would get me fired on a session.
Yeah.
So I enjoy both, but yeah, I really love being the guy that just plays a supportive role and just doing that in the most creative way, in the best way possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Time and a place for everything.
Time and a place for everything. Yeah. And I feel like guitar players, especially, they kind of have one of two personalities. They're either the chill, laid back, like I'm over here, but you don't have to look.
Sure.
And that's kind of how I tend to be. And then there's the guy who's fighting for, the front man position.
Yeah.
Who's like at the front of the stage, like, this is awesome. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
One of my best friends is that guy, the other guitar player in the band I tour with. And I love it. There's like a good balance there. But yeah, I love being in that supportive role, whether that's, on a session, on stage, or even like producing and mixing.
Yeah, I mean, from your experience, would you say that there's, like, when both of those types are in the same band, would you say that's a good balance usually?
I enjoy it. Yeah, because my touring gig with a country artist named Frank Foster, that's the situation. The other guitar player, a guy named Brian Sowell, great songwriter, singer, guitar player. And he's very much that, kind of frontman personality.
Nice, yeah.
And I'm very much not, but it's cool. And even his playing is much more aggressive and rock and roll, and mine's more clean, contained. Even live, I kind of play like it's a record.
Sure.
And it's a cool balance. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just an interesting perspective on it. Yeah, I know that having the frontman, lead, whatever type of guitarist, and throwing two of them in the same band, that's kind of a recipe for
if there are too many big personalities on a session or on stage, there can be some friction. So yeah.
And I feel like occasionally things like that kind of work in a weird way, but it's good to again see it as a band instead of just they're all supporting you and not the other way around. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So when a client reaches out for your remote recording gigs, really whether that's guitar, even helping with any other just creative vision in it, can you describe the typical process for that?
Yeah. Typically, they'll send me over some files, usually stems, where it's like, here's the vocal stem, here's the instrumental. A lot of times there will be some demo guitars already in place, and they'll send me that just for some ideas. And then I can mute those demo guitars to record with. So typically they'll send over those stems, some tempo information, sometimes a chart, most of the time not, and then any kind of creative direction they have. Sometimes they get super descriptive about, here's everything you'd ever want to know about the project. Here's the emotions I'm trying to capture. Here's the backstory of this song. And sometimes it's just like, here's a country song. Do your thing.
Yeah.
So, but at the very least, I'm getting some stems to record to and a little bit of a creative nudge in one direction or the other.
How do you translate just those stems into like the creative vision that you're either requested or trying to bring out on this record?
Yeah, that's where references are really helpful. Where if they name some artists or some songs, I'll start there, and then do a little bit of reverse engineering from there. Like, okay, what do these references have in common? Whether that's like a particular guitar sound or even a particular. A lot of times the songs are all kind of the same feel or convey the same kind of emotion. And so, yeah, typically I'm just starting there with their references and doing some reverse engineering in terms of getting the right guitar sounds and playing the right kind of parts.
Sure. So they usually send you these stems. Generally speaking, I understand that's how it works, but have you ever had projects where it's like a lot earlier where the artist might not have a full idea of what they want, or even just laying a guitar with no reference track? Does that happen?
Yes, that does happen. As recently as last week, a songwriter hired me, and it was a voice memo of him singing into his phone. There was no guitar underneath or anything. So at that point, it's a little more than just recording guitar. I feel like I'm kind of co-writing the song at that point.
Sure.
Because I'm hearing his melody and then fishing around for a chord progression that makes sense under it. So that would be an extreme example of like getting next to nothing. And I recently produced some tracks where the work tape was that same way. It was somebody just snapping the backbeat and singing a cappella and then having to imagine the chord progression that's going on underneath it. But typically I'm getting some stems at the very least.
And do you prefer to have the stems? Or
I
do you
prefer,
like the co-writing?
before I record, they're both fun, but when you're working remote, like I do most of the time, it's very difficult when they're not singing in real time and I'm playing the progression, because then it's like I have to kind of guess, think this sounds good, now record it, send it back, see what they think. If we're in the room like this and I have a guitar and we can work in real time, that's great. I don't mind that at all. But if somebody's hiring me to do some remote session work, I would much rather than be over-prepared.
Yeah.
And I've pushed back on clients too, where they're like, we want to get the guitars done and then we're going to hire a drummer and bass player. I would rather the drums be in place before we start building on top of that, because I don't want to paint the drummer in a corner.
Sure.
And lay down some like rhythm acoustic guitars, and then the drummer's like, well, I guess I'm going to play this because anything else is going to be fighting with that rhythm guitar. So typically I'd like for at least the drums to be in place, if not drums and bass, and at least a scratch vocal. Because I've had some cases where the client didn't have a scratch vocal, and I'm kind of like, well, I don't know what the target is. You know?
Yeah.
There's no way to avoid getting in the way of the vocal if I don't have the vocal.
Of course.
So that can be a unique challenge too. But
yeah, so you want that rhythm track really laid out first.
If the rhythm section is in place first, that's great.
Yeah, and just has me thinking, do you often get sets where there is no rhythm section, never will be, like just singer-songwriter, maybe riffing in the back? Do you get those kind of jobs as well?
Yeah, I've done all kinds of stuff. Yeah, that reminds me of an interesting project that was kind of an ongoing thing last year, I think, where I was hired to take pop songs and turn them into acoustic tracks. So basically, it was like one of the songs from The Greatest Showman soundtrack and stuff like that. And my job was to do an acoustic guitar arrangement. There was some like ambient texture type electric stuff there. And even the percussion was me like banging on my acoustic, right? Just doing like a kick sound and then slapping it for the snare. So like everything you hear is guitar, and then they added vocals after that. So with that project, there was nothing but a blank session. And so I would chart the song. Sometimes there would be a vocal stem that I could work from, and sometimes not. And then just build the track with guitars.
Interesting. Are those songs released?
I'm not sure. I need to ask the producer.
Yeah. I'd be interested.
I need to follow up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff I play on and I just never know. You know.
They don't follow up usually?
Some people are really good about that, following up and saying, hey, here's a link to the release. Other times, like, there are certain artists that I've played on lots of their stuff. So whenever I see a new release, it shows up on Spotify. Yeah. Because it's an artist that I've followed or whatever. And I'll check it out. But yeah, a lot of stuff I just play on it and forget about it.
Yeah. Do you prefer that artists reach out?
Yeah, I love it. I always love to hear the finished product. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's kind of feels like you're just sending it off down the line, and you want to know what happened.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah,
right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I always love to hear it.
And we touched on this a little bit, but clients in the past have really praised your ability to turn like a rough demo into a masterpiece. I was curious if you just have any other stories on how you took like a challenging project from like ambiguity to that masterpiece.
Sure. Well, this is relevant because I just did some mixed tweaks on this project this morning.
Really?
So this project started over a year ago, last spring. And the idea was, it was a song written, it's kind of a novelty type piece. So it's about being on the beach in Tahiti in the summer or at Christmas time, right? And then Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus show up. And so that's what the song is about.
Sure.
And so it turned into this illustrated book project. There's like a music video going along with it. And I was hired to produce the track. And it was just a very rough work tape, like guitar, vocal kind of thing that I was given. And the task was produce this to sound like the Moana soundtrack. Like it needs to sound like Disney.
Wow.
I was like, okay. So a massive undertaking. And the session ended up being close to 200 tracks of audio, just massive percussion, ukulele, guitars, lots of vocals. So that was something where it's like we went from this rough work tape to something that sounds like Disney produced it. And I had, a lot of help along the way with vocal production, with percussion, with all that. But still, it was a massive undertaking.
Wow.
But it turned out great, and it's going to be released leading up to this Christmas. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Definitely let us know when it's up. We'd love to listen to it, check it out. Were you like live tracking with these other tracks?
The first thing I did was I worked with a friend named Ted Skolitz here in town. I went to his home studio, and he helped me out, like getting the process started, getting lots of percussion done. And then from there, I did ukuleles, guitars, lap steel, that type thing. And then a vocal contractor and vocal arranger, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but he's here in Nashville. He was hired.
You can send it to us.
Yeah, he was hired to produce and arrange the background vocals.
Nice.
And he did it big. I mean, it sounds awesome, and I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. And then at that point, it was just getting all the finishing touches on it, any last overdubs, and mixing it. And then we just finished with the lead vocals this week.
Wow!
So
all coming together.
It's been a long process, but yeah, it's all coming together.
Yeah, man. I wish we could play a snippet on the show almost, but we'll definitely let us know when it's out, and we'll feature it for you.
Yeah, sounds good.
So your music has also been featured on networks like Fox, CBS, HBO, MTV, just to name a few. How did you navigate going from the session work, like moving up to Nashville from Alabama, and now your music is getting like played on network television? How did you like navigate into that spot career-wise?
I've been working in the sync world since 2015, and I've worked with a couple different sync companies during that time. And it was something that I never really planned on doing, but then I saw an opportunity. This was, 2015, so I saw an ad on, it was Craigslist. Back when that was still kind of a thing. And it was a sync company looking for composers. And I was like, I didn't have much going on at that point because I was only 2 years into living in Nashville. And so, it was a slow climb. So I was like, that sounds fun. Let me try. So I did a couple pieces. They had a brief there to write to. So I sent them a couple pieces, and they were like, hey, this sounds good. We'd love to sign you. And
wow,
I have still not met the guys that run that company. They're out of Detroit, and that relationship has blossomed, like the Peyton Parrish stuff, State of Mind, all those tracks. These are the guys that produce that stuff. So after a few years of building a sync catalog with these guys, then they started hiring me to do remote session work on a lot of stuff that they were producing. So It's pretty cool. So they just started sending briefs, a couple briefs a month, where it's basically a rundown of like, we need tracks that sound like this. They need to be 90 to 120 seconds using this kind of instrumentation. Here are some references. We need it by Friday, 5 tracks by Friday, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And that's really where I got a lot of reps with session work as a guitar player, but also with production, with audio editing, with mixing, because I had to be a one-man show because I couldn't afford to pay other people to do this work, because with that kind of work, it's all like building a catalog and then getting paid once it gets placed, and BMI collects royalties.
Sure.
So it was nearly 2 years from the time I submitted my first tracks to the sync catalog to when I got that first check from BMI. It took so long that I was starting to think I'm getting ripped off. This is a Craigslist scam and they're stealing my work. But they reassured me, no, your check's coming. We've been doing this a while. And the great thing about that work is once those quarterly royalties start coming in, they don't stop, or they haven't yet. So it's kind of like this different stream that that's its own thing in my career. And I'm working with a different company now that's based in Nashville called Howling Music.
Oh, yeah.
I've been working with them for a couple of years, and so far I've landed a commercial. And I don't know if any TV stuff has landed with them yet. I'll see in a couple of weeks when BMI sends a statement to me.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a long on-ramp to get into that world, but it also has a long tail as far as payments, because once things air, it takes another 6 to 9 months to get paid for that. But then shows rerun, shows play internationally, so then you have the international payments coming in. So it's a great thing to get into, and it's really fun, but you have to be patient. You have to be patient.
So it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but you first got that Craigslist ad, and then
I responded to a Craigslist ad.
Yeah, and then it was a few weeks, months before you were actually like working with them, or was it like right away?
It was immediately. They sent me a brief, and I probably built a catalog of a couple hundred tracks.
Oh, wow.
With them, and they started placing pretty early, and those tracks are still getting placed. And I don't think I've done any work for that catalog since probably 2022, but I'm still getting new placements every quarter, which is amazing.
Were you still were you producing like these types of tracks in that 2-year period before you were seeing your first checks?
I was writing a ton of stuff and building up that catalog before the payment started coming my way. So like I said, I was about to throw in the towel and be like, man, these guys ripped me off. But no, they were legit. And it just takes a while when you first step into that world to, because you have to write the music, you have to submit it, then they have to process it internally, and then a music supervisor has to find it, license it, place it in a show or a movie or whatever. And then it's another 6 months or 9 months before BMI collects royalties on it after it's aired. So, if you're getting paid within a year of starting, like, that's really fast. So,
were you familiar with that whole process before getting into it?
Not at all. Yeah, I was learning on the fly. I was learning how to produce. I was getting tons of practice playing guitar in different styles, because like I'd be doing a set of reggae tracks one week and then bluegrass stuff the next week, and then hip hop stuff where there's no guitar at all. Just learning to program the next week, and learning to mix on the fly too, because I couldn't send it to a mix engineer. So I just went to YouTube University, and like when I hit a snag, I was like, YouTube, how do I, program drums for this style or whatever it was. And just learned it by doing it. Yeah.
So it sounds like you did get lucky that it wasn't a scam. No. Do you have any advice or just like things to look out for people who might be interested in getting into that sort of business?
Yeah.
Not get scammed?
Yeah. Maybe avoid Craigslist, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the easiest way to get into it is to find somebody who's already doing it and see if you can work together. Because with Howling Music, I'm doing a lot of collaboration. So the quality of what I'm doing for this company is a lot higher. Their standards are higher. And I've been doing more vocal stuff where I'm collabing with singers. A lot of stuff where there's like intricate keys stuff or piano stuff that I just can't do.
Sure.
So I'll pull in a friend to do that. So that's my best advice, is find somebody in that world and see if they're willing to collaborate on some of that stuff. And then that'll kind of get you in the door.
The relationships.
Yeah. Especially if they already have a working relationship with a sync library, and then you can collaborate with them, then like you're getting tracks into that catalog.
Sure.
Because, when you co-write, you're owning a percentage of that copyright. So that's probably the easiest way in. Other than that, I mean, there's a website called Music Library Report, where you can do lots of research on all these different music library companies.
Sure.
And then you can just do some cold emails, and just see if anybody's accepting new composers.
Yeah. Have you done that in the past too?
I haven't. No.
Yeah.
That's another one of those things that was on the to-do list at some point, but just things were too busy to ever get to it. So
it's a good spot to be in where you're got enough work. Anyways,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a little bit on the like relationship side. Would you give like the same advice for just learning the business side, like how PROs work and how getting connected with BMI or learning how that process works? Was that also more relationship based, or did you learn that over time?
Registering with BMI is a pretty simple process. Just going to their website and signing up. And if, there's always a phone number you can call if you get hung up on any of that kind of stuff. But, typically, if you're working with a sync library, they're going to send contracts out before you, typically before you start writing for them. Okay. And also for any tracks that they sign, there's usually another contract that's specific to those tracks for how they're going to use them, how ownership is going to be split, all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. So sounds like you heard a lot about that just by saying yes.
Just by doing it. Yeah, just by saying yes and figuring it out. Yeah, that's kind of how I've learned a lot of this stuff, whether it's playing sessions or producing or mixing. It's just saying yes to opportunities that were in front of me and then figuring it out on the job, And I wasn't nearly as good at like playing guitar on songs 12 years ago when I moved to Nashville, but however many songs later, I'm a lot better. Yeah. Just from the reps, from doing it a lot. It's like anything.
Practice, yeah.
You practice, you get better. Yeah.
Between the sync licensing, like that whole world, as well as just regular music session work, how would you say that those two career paths have like vibe together for you specifically?
I kind of alluded to this earlier, but doing the sync work really gave me a lot of reps with recording guitar because a lot of those briefs were very guitar heavy type briefs that I was having to write to and produce. So it just, I never would have played on a reggae track if it wasn't for doing it for the sync catalog. It was everything from that to playing on like the heavy rock that you hear on football highlights, like all that kind of stuff that's guitar heavy, country stuff, bluegrass styles, more cinematic stuff. So I feel like I really learned how to produce and learned the basics of mixing by building a sync catalog. And so, 3 or 4 years ago when I started moving into producing for other artists and mixing for other artists, I had already gotten some reps and built some skills by building the sync catalog.
Nice.
So I think that was really good practice. Building the sync catalog has been really good practice for the skills that I'm employing now as a producer, mix engineer, and session guitar player.
Yeah, sounds like they inform each other quite a bit.
They do, yeah. But I was doing the sync catalog thing before I was producing. It was, I was building that part of my career at the same time I was building my session career. So those two things were growing together. But the production and mixing thing is a more recent income stream that I've been getting into as of the last 3 or 4 years. And that was certainly, I developed the skills necessary to do that work by building a sync catalog.
Nice.
Because it's like, probably 250 tracks now that I've produced and mixed. So it's just given me those reps. Like, it would take a long time to produce 250 tracks for different artists. Like, that's a lot of work. So I'm kind of already there through what I've done with the sync catalog. So when I started producing for artists, I felt like I wasn't necessarily a beginner, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, good to know. I mean, just with your very wide range of experience, we've already talked about, done hundreds of sessions, worked with plenty of artists. Could you give some advice on like what are the most common mistakes that you see clients? Well, I was going to say musicians, but honestly, even sync clients as well. What are the most common mistakes that you're seeing, and how can they be avoided?
From the client side of people sending me work?
Side,
yeah, some of them we've already talked about, like not giving me enough information to work from. Or they'll send me a really sloppy scratch drum track, and they want me to record guitars to it. And I'm like, do I follow the drummer or the click track?
Sure.
That kind of thing. I've had people, tell me that this track's recorded at 80 BPM, but then I load it into Logic and it's not lining up.
Yeah.
So one of the most common things is not bouncing stems from the beginning of the session. They'll bounce it from like somewhere between beat 3 and beat 4 of the measure before the intro starts. So then I have to import the files and try to drag it around to find where the downbeat is. That's very frustrating. So be kind to your session players.
Yes.
Bounce down from the beginning of your project. That's probably the number one thing that comes to mind as an annoying thing. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining though, because I play guitar for a living.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would say not having drums in place or sending stems that are sloppily done for me to put guitars to. So, I've had songs where the bass player is not playing with the drummer on certain sections, and it's like I don't know who's right. That kind of thing. That's all that comes to mind right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm noticing a theme there. It seems a lot of technical stuff. Would you say that a lot of the work that you get has been professionally engineered in some way before coming to you, or do you get a lot of like kind of new to music?
I get a lot of all of it. Yeah. A lot of the session work I do is just amateurs or hobbyists who are doing it for fun, and so a lot of it's not great quality, not well recorded. Some of it is from professional producers, and it's going to go out there and get millions of streams. So it's like it's from one extreme to the other. But I enjoy it all. I'm grateful for all of it.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully those, especially on the amateur hobbyist side, hopefully they can listen to this conversation right now and get a little bit of, YouTube University and
exactly. Yeah. And I've had other clients who have been sending me stuff for years, and we've developed enough trust and rapport that I can kind of push back and say, hey, on future projects, maybe think about this. And so I've had some clients that have been sending me stuff for years that have improved greatly with the quality that they're sending to me. And that's kind of fun to see too.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we've touched on this a bit before, but just to get something a little bit more formal, do you have like a list of things that you're looking for specifically when clients reach out to you with projects, whether it's the references, the charts, stems? Do you have like a more formal list of things that you're ideally looking for?
Yeah. In a perfect world, anytime somebody would reach out, they would have stems. If they've recorded demo guitars, a stem of those guitars that I can listen to for reference and then mute to when I'm tracking. Tempo information. If it's a song that has different tempos or retards or whatever throughout the song, send a tempo map so that when I pull in the tracks, it's ready to go, and those tempo changes are built in. Some references, creative direction, whether that's here's the emotion I'm going for, here's the story I'm trying to tell, any kind of creative adjectives that they can throw out there that'll get me thinking in a certain way. All that is helpful. A chart can be helpful, but is usually not necessary.
Okay.
Especially if it's a gospel thing where there's chord subs everywhere and wild extensions. That's usually not one that I can just chart out on one listen. But other than that, yeah, a chart would be helpful in that case.
Good to know. And I also wanted to ask, since you've done a lot of this remote type of work, it sounds like a lot of your work is being done remotely, but you've also done plenty of stuff in person, correct? How do you balance the efficiency and creativity between remote work and in-person sessions?
Yeah, I love working remotely because it's allowed me to connect with people from all over the world, but my preference is to play with other musicians in the room.
Yeah.
And for the client to be sitting there and I can read their face, read their body language in real time. There's a certain energy in the room when you're playing with other musicians and you're tracking together live that you just can't replicate when you're working by yourself in a remote situation. So there are a few things that I've done, kind of little hacks to try to get that same energy out of a remote session. One thing is I'll just put my phone on the desk and turn the camera on and record myself.
Yeah.
And it just feels like somebody's watching. It feels like there's pressure. And so having that good kind of pressure helps you bring your A game and not just lazily play through something because it's no big deal if I mess up, I can just punch it. So that helps me move through things a little quicker. Sometimes I'll just have my wife sit in the room for a minute. It's like there's another person there, so I got to get this done.
She's getting that little co-write.
Yeah.
Credit almost.
Yeah, right, yeah. Other times I'll just set a deadline, like, all right, I got these songs. I want to finish this before lunch today. Sure. And so I'll just challenge myself in that way. So it helps me to really focus and try to stay sharp. So that's a few things I do to try to be efficient because, what is that rule? I can't remember what they call it, but like work expands to fit the time available to get it done. Yeah. So if I just create these arbitrary deadlines, like this song will be done before lunch, that helps me stay on target.
Yeah, like time bounding it. Yeah. Yeah, it makes total sense. When you're talking about recording yourself and I'm assuming you're just doing like selfie cam on your phone or something like that. Have you ever done like video conferencing with the actual client when you're playing these tracks?
I haven't. That's an option. It's pretty typical to have like a Zoom call or a FaceTime call before I start recording, just so we can have a little face-to-face and talk through things. If there are any specific things they're wanting out of the guitar parts, that's helpful just to have a 5-minute conversation about it. But yeah, and if it's a client who's in town, I like for them to come over to the house and be there with me while we're working. But a lot of what I do, especially with the remote work, it's remote. Like it's somebody from Australia sending me something. So even trying to sync up, they're like 17 hours ahead of us or something wild like that. So it's just not feasible. But
yeah, which I have to plug. Muze does offer video conferencing on the platform. So whenever you're getting those clients, you can just do that right away.
Yeah, because then it's more like you're working together.
Exactly.
You're collaborating. You're getting real-time feedback. That's great.
Real-time feedback, monitor any changes, and everything's also recorded. So
that's beautiful.
You can always go back and reference it, which we've never ran into any like rights disputes. I'm sure you've heard in Nashville, what's the phrase, the get a third, like you're
write a word, get a third.
Write a word, get a third. Yeah, we've heard in Nashville, write a word, get a third, and we just like to have some kind of a backup for like this is what was actually said during the session, that type of stuff. So that's got to plug that at the very least. Great. With just wrapping up here, you've seen a lot happen in the last, you said 12 years?
12 years here in Nashville.
Here in Nashville?
Yeah.
I mean, not just in the music scene, but just the city as a whole. What do you see is going to like continue evolving here in this Nashville music scene?
Wow. I don't know. I mean, it seems like everybody has a home studio and anybody can learn to do anything that they want to do, which I think is great. What else? I know AI is a thing and it scares a lot of creatives. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive, but I don't think it's going to take all of our jobs as creatives. I don't know. I'm hoping that there's going to be a pushback in the next couple of years towards more realness in all aspects of life. Because I'm sure we've all heard like AI generated songs. And it's kind of impressive that a computer program can do that, but also it's not anything I would jam in the car.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think when you take the human element out of it, there's something just kind of weird about it.
Uncanny Valley almost? Or
yeah, just kind of lifeless. There's no soul. I mean, there's literally no soul, right?
Yeah.
It's, so I'm hoping there's a pushback. I mean, obviously from the creative community here in Nashville, where we all understand the value of human created music. But I hope in the general population, people will learn to spot the fake.
Yeah.
As it were. But I think deep down, everybody craves what's real, right?
Authenticity.
Authenticity. Yeah. So that's kind of a tangent, but,
oh no, I love it. Yeah. I mean, with the AI stuff, we've seen like across different industries, you get those early adopters who are just trying to change everything and change the way stuff is done, kind of admittedly cause a mess sometimes, but there can also be value in some of those tools. Do you see there's like any niches that AI might fit in the new music community, even if it's just a tool instead of just write me a song?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Like a tool is not inherently wicked.
Yeah.
It's like a hammer is good for hammering nails. It's bad for smacking your neighbor. AI is bad for writing songs. It's good for brainstorming song titles, perhaps. Yeah. Or it's good for, analyzing EQ curves if you're mixing something, things like that, where I think it can really speed up workflows. But asking it to do creative heavy lifting, I think is a mistake.
Yeah. So would you say it's more in just like the menial stuff within your workflow? Again, like generating song title ideas, or I'm sure all the DAWs are going to start trying to throw AI stuff in the next couple of years.
Right. I mean, there's already like Logic session players.
Exactly.
Right. That are creating parts on the fly. And
which we've had like the drummer tracks for
a while.
Like a decade, I feel like, but still.
Yeah. And I mean, like I've used Logic Drummer on sync stuff when it's like, I'm not a drummer, but I need something quick. And just using it to get me in the ballpark and then tweaking from there to get what I need. That's helpful. But at the end of the day, I would much rather, and any opportunity I have, I would rather hire a drummer.
Sure.
To play on it, because it's just always going to be better. And it just feels better, Yeah. Musically, it feels better. And also, it just feels better to send work to another person.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any advice for just like the next generation of guitarists, musicians, even artists that you might work with someday on how they can differentiate themselves in a world with more and more AI each day?
Yeah, I would say just get really good at whatever you do. Get really good. Don't be lazy. There are no shortcuts to being great at anything. So just be patient, put in the work, get your reps, and yeah, just stick with it.
Yeah. Might be 2 years before you get that check, but
It might be 2 years before you get that first check. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I was here in Nashville for 10 years before I really hit my stride professionally, and I was doing work that I was really proud of, working with people that I'm proud to be associated with, getting into the production scene as well as just playing sessions. So yeah, you've got to be patient. It takes a long time to get good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well said. Looking ahead specifically for you, what's next? What do you see on the horizon for your career and or even just personally?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully a lot more production work. I'm currently learning how to master music, so then I'll be, somewhat competent from like writing, composing, producing, recording, editing, mixing, and mastering. So that'll be nice, and also learning to master, I've already seen, is informing how I mix and how I produce, because it's all connected. So that's one thing. Hopefully, I'll be doing a lot more production work. I mentioned Brian Sowell before, the other guitar player that I tour with in Frank Foster's band. There's a couple songs we're working on together for him to release as a solo artist. Those are both in production right now. Those will be coming out soon, probably this fall. Other than that, I'm just playing guitar, making music. Yeah.
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Told me before we started today just a little bit of what you have been working on and like what's continuing out there. So we're going to be playing that here in just a moment, but just want to say, dude, thank you for coming on the podcast. I've loved hearing your stories, and I know you're going to have a lot of great advice to the next generation and our audience. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Well, wanted to play one of Andrew's, I love this track, but wanted to play Honey Cruller, just written and performed and by yours truly right here.
Yeah.
And so without further ado, we'll link that in Spotify in the comments below, but here's Honey Cruller by Andrew Timothy.